In late 1969.
There is a young cowboy who lives on the range. His horse and his cattle are his only companions. He works in the saddle and he sleeps in the canyons, waiting for summer, his pastures to change.
When a singer-songwriter shows up, the first record, the first batch that they play you, that's 10 years worth of work. The second record is when you find out how good they are.
I knew I wanted to let the songs speak for themselves, and that possibly what I'd done wrong last time was getting the arrangement get a little bit in the way of the essence of the song, which is James and his guitar parts. So I made very sure that they were front and center at all times.
Good night, you moonlight ladies. Rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby James?
No one writes lyrics like James. He's completely unique. Through the good times and the bad times, and when he was down, he faced those furies, and he wrote about them, and they come out in his music.
So good night, you moonlight ladies. Rock-a-bye, sweet baby James. Deep greens and blues are the colors I choose. Won't you let me go down in my dreams and rock-a-bye, sweet baby Jane?
Finding the band was an operation. I don't remember who introduced James or I first to Carol. Possibly Cooch, I don't know. But we met her and loved everything about her. Her songs, her piano playing, her persona, you know.
The feeling was real electric between them. Carol was obviously excited, and if you can imagine James' subdued nature being electric, it was.
First of all, you can ask me about James anytime, because I love him so much. It's that real, everybody says, were you a couple? No. Do you ever think about it? No. The first connection was musical.
It turned out we spoke the same language. We sat down and we slipped back into the mother tongue, really. It was great. We played on each other's records. We just had a common mind,
They're very different. They're very different. Carol is kind of the earth mother, Jewish mother kind of babe. James is kind of an ascetic, Protestant vicar kind of guy in a way, although they're both hilarious in different ways. It's the contrast that really is what makes it so entertaining, and maybe always has.
James was one of the first artists that my mom met that, wasn't an artist she just wrote for, that she kind of helped make their record and stuff. This was an artist who did something that she didn't know how to do, that she was inspired by, that she admired. And I think that he was really an inspiration to her.
I've always had confidence in the fact that when I played music, it touched people in some way. And the place I didn't have confidence was as a performer. That's where I had no confidence. That's where you came in.
I felt that Carol really should be singing her own songs. And with Cooch's help, we encouraged her to sing her own songs in my set.
This song is for C-Mark and for all the people at the Troubadour this week who've been really fantastic, and for you, who are also fantastic.
Carol debuted in 70, I guess it was. She opened at the Troubadour, very nervous. I think we went there together. I was excited because the song sounded really good, and I'd never heard my songs performed.
I had my act really carefully worked out, and I knew exactly what I was going to do and say. And at the end of my third number, as the applause died down, I hear this voice coming over a speaker, a disembodied voice saying, Carol, you're not going to believe this.
There's been a bomb scare, a bomb threat phoned in, and we do have to evacuate the club. And Carol had the wit to say, as long as it's not me.
And that kind of broke the ice. I really felt comfortable up there. I realized that all I have to do is just be myself.
You got to gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel.
When she finally stepped up to the plate herself, it was like hitting a major vein, like a seam of water flowing underground or something. It welled up. And after a while, she was opening for me, and then after a while, I was opening for her.
So maybe love can end the madness, maybe not. Oh, but we can only try. You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love in your heart. And people
She was remarkable. She wasn't barefoot like Linda Ronstadt, and she wasn't wearing flowers in her hair like Joni, and she wasn't being kind of gutsy like Bonnie Raitt. She's kind of just being real.
And one of the greatest tributes, I think, to a performer there is when the bar would empty out and everybody would find an excuse to go to the bathroom and then find someplace to stand and watch the act. The bar was empty when Carol was on.
Sometime after we got to LA, I think a short time after we got to LA, Lou Adler signed my mom and started putting out records. First The City, then Writer, and then Tapestry. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumbling down. I feel my heart start to trembling whenever you're around. Oh, baby, when I see your face, mellow as the month of May.
Tapestry is just a zeitgeist classic. It's a world away from Little Eva, let's face it.
Everything that I ever wanted to accomplish with the album just fell into place. You always get the feeling that she's sitting there playing piano and singing to you.
I mean, it was that kind of experience where we really all learned from each other, and hence the joy of playing together.
She would suggest, while playing the song, she said, give me a little here, just some little fills here, not too much, just kind of answering the vocal. Now here, go back to playing rhythm.
Carol's kind of like voice, which is kind of like the voice of every woman singing these songs about kind of women's issues to a certain extent, appealed to a lot of people.
You didn't have to look like a movie star to get a record deal, and she was one of the first and most earthy of the crossover artists. I don't think anybody, including her, expected her to have the success she did, but her connection with us was so profound.
Down to my very soul, I get hot and cold.
I remember these as golden days because this was when we were just sort of a three-person unit, and it was just good times. I remember it as almost being like having like a babysitter rather than a mom, because she was so cool. It was just good times.
A tumbling down, a tumbling down, a tumbling down, a tumbling down, tumbling down.
With James, I'm a cat, I'm a sideman. And that's the beauty of this band, too. Everyone's a cat, everyone's there to make us better. It's not just musicians. It's musicians who know that they're there to serve the song and the performance. It's a joy to be a cat.
I think it's important to talk about the sound of those records. Just a nice kind of woody, organic sound, exemplified really by the guys who became known as the Section.
We were fortunate enough to come along at a time when they were putting names on albums. So people looked at the record, saw our names, and went, let's call those guys and have them play on this record. And suddenly we had careers.
Right.
Who would have thought?